I know a lot of people argue about who is best boy, best girl, best chicken nugget, best whatever, but this fella right here, Bojji, he's not a best boy, he's the best boy. If you dislike this kid, you're evil. Pure evil. Get out of here. But who is this Bojji lad anyways, and why should you care about him in the first place? Well, he's the king of the Bosse kingdom. What, you don't know Bosse? Everyone knows Bosse. The Bosse cinematic universe has been expanding for years now. I guess I'll tell you. Bojji is the main character of an anime called Ranking of Kings. The show made its splash back in late 2021, bringing aboard a fresh art style and direction helmed by the incredible Studio Wit. I didn't watch it back then, mainly because I didn't vibe that much with the art style, but it's seriously grown on me as I watched the first season. Ranking of Kings is Bojji's story of being the greatest king of them all, ruling across the land with an iron fist and a build that can make Arnold Schwarzenegger look like a twink. Oh, wait, no, I had the script flipped. Give me a second. Here we go. Ranking of Kings takes place in a fantasy world where many magical kingdoms exist across the land. In this world exists a Ranking of Kings committee which take in multiple factors that are important for a king, like strength, and they basically decide who are the top kings in the land based off of this assessment. You can also help me rank up on YouTube too by liking and subscribing. Okay, sorry, I just needed to get that out of the way sooner than later. Ranks change dramatically whenever a high-ranking king dies, and the first place king may take something from the Divine Treasure Vault, which has magical things we could never fathom, like a Pokemon game actually worth $60. However, the catch for this is that the kings who have visited the vault tend to go a little insane, so maybe going for first place really isn't the move. The main character of this story is a young man named Bojji. He's the first son of King Bosse, who's a giant that wields strength that's mostly unrivaled throughout the land. Bosse has a squad of formidable fighters under him that all protect the castle, the queen, and the children. Unfortunately for Bojji, he was kinda unlucky since his dad fucked around and made a deal with the devil that basically robbed Bojji of, well, everything. He's small, physically weak, and deaf. That's right, the main character doesn't speak at all. The town constantly makes fun of him for being a dumb kid with no friends as well, and his life is pretty damn tough, and it's only made harder since he's a prince that has immense expectations placed on him. That is until Bojji meets a sentient assassin shadow child named Kage, who had just been betrayed by his kingdom, lost his ma, and was filled with hate for the world because why wouldn't he be? Kage is Bojji's support system throughout the show, and he's the ultimate homie to him, saving him from death, hyping him up when he's down, and helping him explore the world. You see, even within the confines of the castle, Bojji could never find peace. His younger brother from another mother, Daida, is constantly an asshole to him, and Bojji's own mentor, Domas, tells Bojji that his way of fighting isn't fitting for a king at all. Things go even more south for Bojji after King Bosse dies and Daida takes the throne. Except psych, it's King Bosse again, bitch. Except this time he's in Daida's body while the real Daida is in complete darkness. Talk about a shitty dad. Bojji has to stop this newfound evil Bosse from enacting the will of a sentient mirror that holds a wish in it. After the first couple of episodes, I kinda expected the rest of Ranking of Kings to be about Bojji struggling with his disabilities in a world where everyone's against him, and how he rose to the top without violence by just being an innocent boyo. Thankfully, that wasn't the case, mainly because most of the characters, especially by the end of season 1, are very likable. This includes characters like Daida. How? That's because Ranking of Kings does an amazing job showing the internal struggles and strife of others and why they do what they do, even if their actions end up getting Bojji hurt. Let's take Bosse for example. He's a giant king that sacrificed his first son's physical ability and overtook the body of his second son to come back to life. Total dick, right? Well, not really. We learned about how Bosse had done some of this against his own will and how he felt guilty about what happened to Bojji and his mother. There's also Queen Healing, who's my favorite character in the show. I thought she was going to be your typical evil fairy tale mom that made life hell for her adopted children, but no, she's really well written. She's just a mother who wants to love Daida and Bojji, and we see her insanely strong spirit time and time again when it comes to saving others with her healing magic. Yeah, she's stern, but you can tell how much she seriously loves Bojji, from struggling to learn sign language to communicate with him to straight up losing it when she heard that Bojji had seemingly died. A lot of the characters in Ranking of Kings have their flaws, but due to how good their writing is, I come around to liking them every single time. I thought this dickhead Doma wouldn't be redeemable after he pushed Bojji off a cliff, but this man, he's the GOAT. The main villain of the series, a witch trapped in a mirror named Miranjo, even she has her redemption that doesn't feel forced and is done really well. Ranking of Kings does a fantastic job showing the amount of torture she had to go through, and even though I can't justify her means, I don't blame her for feeling the way she did and doing the things she ended up doing, even if those actions kinda led to murdering a giant mother who was just raising her son in peace and minding her business. I also expected Bojji to remain as some powerless fella that swayed people with his words. After all, dodging was his main strength and you can't really do much with that. Except Bojji did, with the help of a peculiar pantaloon wearing king named Despa, who also isn't that strong like Bojji and finds strengths in different ways. So Bojji does what any lad would do in this precarious situation and becomes the best duelist ever that somehow one-shots everyone without hurting them at an atomic level. See, normally I'd be against the main character being this stupidly strong, but with Bojji, I don't really mind. There's something awesome about seeing the little boy who had nothing become strong like this without being some prophesied child or have some demon in him yet. It also helps that Bojji's kindness and willingness to hear people out make this style of fighting perfect for a king like him, and seeing him face more and more obstacles and make tough decisions has been really great. He goes from a powerless kid to a strong king candidate that's able to forgive and see eye to eye with the murder of his mother. Although none of this happens instantly, and we get to see Bojji go from mistrusting someone who betrayed him to understanding why why they did what they did. You see why everyone calls him best boy? Another one of Ranking of Kings' biggest strengths is its world building. The committee of Ranking of Kings is cool enough, but seeing all these fantasy races use things like basic medieval weaponry to magic is really neat. Apart from the different kingdoms, we have inclusions like the underworld, where there also resides a certain King Desha who isn't your typical hard-ass ruler of hell at all. We also learn about the kingdom of Bo, who betrayed Kage's clan, and even the history of gods who roamed the world and used magic to enslave and rule countries. We learn of a country that defied these gods and how Miranda was betrayed after showing kindness. There's even a literal river you can cross to reach the afterlife, in a place where Satan eats you alive after you offer him your soul. This incredible world building really makes the world feel alive and rich, as every single location is filled with lore. It also adds on to strengthening the characters themselves, as we get to see their backgrounds and how their experiences and the way they came from shape their motives, especially in Miranjo. But all this would be kinda terrible if the show didn't carefully portray Bojji and his disability, and thanks to it, Bojji's been done justice and more. The amount of love and care that's been put into the show is awesome. The character acting is phenomenally well animated, which is especially important since the main character, well, doesn't really speak. We have to go with the comments of other characters and Bojji's acting on screen to figure out what's going on with him. The sign language throughout the show was really neat to see as well, and I had a huge smile on my face as I saw how characters around Bojji struggled to learn sign language so that they could communicate with him. I also really enjoyed a lot of the wacky perspective shots. You don't really see stuff often from the point of view of under a chair, for example. It's also great to see that Wit had a sound schedule for the show, having only 4 chief animation directors for its whole run, which meant that the show had a consistent style, and it was consistently fantastic. Ranking of Kings' anime is helmed by Yosuke Hatta, who's done an excellent job and even got nod for Director of the Year. He's also worked on the now legendary season 1 of One Punch Man, directing 3 whole episodes for it. Tako Kishimoto is in charge of series composition and most of the script. Veteran Yuji Kaneko is the art director for Ranking of Kings, and they are much to thank for making this unique art style look so gorgeous. There's also legends like Arifumi Ima and Shingo Yamashita involved with the project as well, along with up-and-coming superstars like new Jujutsu Kaisen director Shota Koshizono. I also want to give a nod to Mayuko for the music, as I thought the whole soundtrack was simply superb, from the bouncy and fun slice of life stuff to the epic bout Bojji had throughout the show. It's so tightly produced, and it's a blast to watch the whole time through. I know the art may be a little weird, but once you get used to it, you'll have a blast watching Ranking of Kings. If you've already checked it out, let me know what you thought. If you got any anime or manga recommendations you want me to check out, put them in the comments below. Have a wonderful day.